guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ainsley if you are now just joining, and today we are going to be talking about the whole Caraval series and Once Upon a Broken Heart series, because they're basically kind of the same series. If you can read them together basically, so I thought I'd do them together. Makes it easier for me and quicker. So alright, so I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't really like Caraval. Caraval was not one of my favorite books, like, at all. It kind of sucked, honestly. Not like the first book was actually really good. It just kind of got worse as it went on because it got really confusing for me. But Once Upon a Broken Heart, oh my god, was that good. It was so good. There's only a bit of confusing parts in that. I think it was just like basically all the fates kind of confused me because I didn't really understand what was happening. But yeah, I know from one of my friends, she read Caraval but then DNF'd the rest of the series. And then she read Once Upon a Broken Heart and she absolutely loves Once Upon a Broken Heart. It's one of her favorite series. And I highly recommend it. And also have your own opinions on it. So please do read the Caraval series and create your own opinions. This is just my opinion, and how I read it was really confusing to me. And plus, I'm not really a big fantasy person, so it confuses me more. But yeah. But overall, the first book of Caraval was amazing. I rated it 5 stars. After that, it just kind of went downhill. And then I think Once Upon a Broken Heart, it was either all of them were 4 stars or all of them, or like one of them was 5 stars. I didn't really like the last book, which is A Curse for True Love, and I didn't really like that one. But I think my favorite was The Ballad of Never After. That was really good. And then Once Upon a Broken Heart, the first book, is really good too. Alright, so we're going to start out with the Caraval series, which we have the first book right here. So this is basically kind of like the rundown of the story is this girl and her sister. Main character is Scarlett. I'm not going to try and say the last name. And then her sister, Donatella or Tella. And they meet this sailor named Julian, which is the love interest for Scarlett. And basically, they really want to go to this carnival, which is Caraval. And it's basically, Caraval is like this, it's like a carnival, but with like more like mystery. So you're trying to find these clues to be able to get to the end of it. But then there's also like murder and then magic in it. So you're also trying not to lose yourself while you're in the game, because like somewhere in it, because some of the stuff isn't actually real, it confuses people and it kind of makes them go crazy. So that was really interesting. I'm gonna say one thing. This first book really, like almost the whole series, kind of reminded me of the Pirates of the Caribbean, that whole movie series. And I love the Pirates of the Caribbean, but this one really wasn't the best. But it kind of reminded me because basically we have this sailor get this girl off the island, which kind of happens in Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's kind of like her father's the governor. So in this book, her father is the governor too. So that, and she basically like runs off with her love interest, which doesn't really happen in the first movie. I don't know, but I have like lots of similarities that I can kind of tell with it. And it's kind of like, it's very Pirate Caribbean-esque. It's kind of like set in kind of like the Caribbean area, because there's all different types of islands and stuff. And they're going to Legend, which is the like master of Caraval. They're going to his private island to go and play Caraval and also get away from their father, because their father is very abusive and we do not like him at all. And so that's what this book is about. And Scarlett's trying to find her sister throughout this book, because her sister gets left alone on the private island. And then basically like her sister gets kidnapped. And Scarlett, the whole thing is just trying to find her sister with the help of Julian. And yeah. So I rated this one 5 stars because overall it was really, really good. But it was kind of confusing at the end because I was like, because I already had known spoilers too, which probably didn't help. And I was over here like, but how does that work then? Where does this come into play? And it like never came into play, and I was like, wait, what? So half the time I was sitting over here like, excuse me? Hello? I need help, please? All right, next one we have in the series, which is the second book, and it is Legendary. This one, I believe, I'm trying to go off of like my memory. My memory kind of sucks, y'all. But basically, this book is the main character. The first book was Scarlett's perspective. This perspective is Donatella's or Tella's. And she is basically, in this book, has a deal with the Prince of Hearts, which is Jax. We'll get more into him on like Once Upon a Broken Heart. And she has a deal with him, and he's trying to find her mother while she's trying to get the actual name of Legend. Like, that's the whole thing. She's trying to find out who Legend is, what's his actual name. And Jax is like trying to kill him because Legend holds the key to like freeing all the fates, different book. And yeah, I think the one thing that really annoyed me in this book was it took her, how many books did it take her? I think it like took her like 2 books for Tella to figure out who Legend was. And I was over here, I already know who it was, but you could tell in the first book who it was, because I was over here like, okay, I'm just gonna tell you right now, spoilers. If you don't want to hear this part, do not watch it. Do not watch it. Do not watch it, okay? I'm gonna wait. Okay, now, if you want to hear some of the spoilers, or you've already seen it, basically, so in Caraval, we meet this guy named Dante. I'm gonna put the book down. So we meet this guy named Dante, and every single time Scarlett sees Dante, like she comes up from him behind, she thinks he's Julian. And at the end of Caraval, we find out that Julian's brother is Legend. And so I'm putting 2 and 2 together, where if Dante looks like Julian and Legend is Julian's brother, then oh my god, Dante and Legend are the same person. Like, what? It literally took her 2 books, and I was over here like, my brother, how are you this dumb? And I was baffled by that. I was like, bro, what? Because I was over here like sitting, I was like, bro, what? And then she got all surprised that she found out that it was Dante, because at the time she was basically like hooking up with Dante, and she didn't know that he was Legend. And I was over here like, what? And here's the thing, in Legendary, wait, no, I think that's in Finale. One of the 2 books. Basically, Legend finds a way how to sneak his way into the air and becomes the lost heir of that like empire. And I'm over here like, Dante, Legend, same person. So wouldn't you see him as the heir? Like, wouldn't you? Like, it was making me really mad how they did not figure that out. Like, someone tell me how, like, I was just like, put the math together earlier, y'all, okay? Okay. So, let's get back to the premise. So this book is basically, she's trying to find out who Legend is, and she's like, oh, if I win this Caraval game, then I get my wish, and I can wish for him to give me his actual name. so I can give it to Jax. So that's what she's trying to do. So basically, they're in a different city. I believe it's, hold please. Okay. Valenda? I don't know, Valenda. But, so basically it's Valenda, and for the Empress's birthday, she wanted to have like a whole Caraval, so Caraval goes to that city right after hosting the other Caraval that was like the private event and stuff. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna enter it. But then at the time, she's faking being the fiance of the actual heir to the throne right now, who the heir is Jax, who is pretending to be the heir because he's not actually the heir, I think. And yeah, but then we also find out that like Donatella and Jax kiss, and usually when you kiss Jax, you would die straight off because that's his curse. Like he can't kiss another person unless it's his true love. So basically, she's still alive. They kissed like a couple times, I think. I know it's at least twice. It's probably more than that though. And so she's still alive. So he's trying to figure that all out. And then we find out like she's his weakness in finale. Here, I'm just gonna grab finale. Okay. So basically the end of Legendary. Spoilers. I'm gonna give a second. They unleash all the fates and they wake all up. And basically this book is switching between Donatella's and Scarlet's perspective. And we find out that Scarlet is like basically like a demigod, but it's like she's half fate. And so basically we're trying to get rid of all the fates, or like the main fate dude, because like he's not really the best person. So they're all trying to figure that out. Tella is trying to, I don't even know what. She's just trying to do stuff. But then at the end of the book, Scarlet becomes the heir to the Empress throne, and I'm like, how does this work? My brain. Like, it honestly made zero sense to me, and I had more questions than I had started with. So yeah, and I think it's called Spectacular or Spectacle. I think it's Spectacular. I think I'm gonna wait to read that. I don't have it right now, but I'm gonna wait to read it on like December. In December, just because it's kind of like a Christmassy book. So yeah, and hopefully I might get answers there, because I really hope so. Also, another thing that very much annoyed me. Spoilers for anyone. No more spoilers, y'all. So, basically, Scarlet in the beginning of Caraval was arranged to get married to like this count dude that she didn't know. But at Caraval, like at like the actual Caraval, some guy who was an actor pretended to be the count, and so we didn't like him. So then she broke off like the arranged marriage, and then only to find out that it wasn't actually him. So then she decided to go meet him, but then also still give Julian a chance. I was over here like, you gotta be kidding me right now. Just, oh my god. I was just like, go date Julian. You like Julian. Go freaking date him. And yeah, it took her a while. I was like, dude, what took you so long? I don't know what it was, but who knows? It was very annoying. All right, onto this. Okay, y'all. We are on to Once Upon a Broken Heart. I absolutely loved this series. Honestly, it was so good. I love Evangeline. Yeah, I also love Jax. Oh my god. Can we have a minute for chaos, y'all? And Lala. Oh my god. They're like one of my favorite ships. Chaos and Lala are one of my favorite ships of all time. And Chaos, y'all. Oh my god. Y'all, like, be honest with me, y'all. Do we like him or not? Because I honestly love him. So basically, sorry, I read this whole series last series. I read this series first before Caraval. So I'm like trying to think of all this. Sorry if I get some of the things wrong that's in a different book in the series. I just don't really remember at this point in life. But basically, please correct me if I am wrong too, y'all. I promise you I read this. I'll probably get it mixed up with like a totally different book that I read. But, so basically, she wants to get married to this dude named Luce. And we find out that her like sister like did like an enchantment spell or like a witchy spell. Like witchy stuff. Like that type of stuff. And it was like, you're marrying me, not my sister. And so that happened. So basically she's going to like, hold on y'all, I need like a map right now because, do I have a map? The map's in here, right? I don't know where she was, question mark. This map is so confusing right now. Okay, but basically she was like, I think on like a temple or something, or like some type of church, I think. And basically she was like trying to like pray. And Jax randomly just showed up with his apples, like eating his apple. Dang it, I wish I had like a white apple right now. That'd be funny. And he's like, I can help you. Plotting. He's like, but you gotta do something for me in return. I'll help you to make him love you again. But you owe me something in return. And like, okay. But she's saying, you never trust a fate. Like, it's like 101 when it comes to fates. Of course, her being her did not happen. Yeah. So basically what happens is, I think like her sister turns her into stone or something after that. And I think Luce dies. But then later on we find out that he got turned into a vampire by Chaos. We love Chaos. Some of the things he did wasn't the best, but we still love him. And contemplating life right now, y'all. Oh my god, I'm trying to think what event happened first. So basically, this guy unturns her from like being stone, and then like Jax is still here. But then basically she finds out that like Jax is like making her go to like a ball, and then she's getting like engaged to this guy named Apollo. We don't like Apollo. I'm just gonna say that now. I don't know which book this is in. We might be in this about the Ballad of Never After at this point in life. I honestly have no clue where I am in the story. We're somewhere, y'all. I think for sure we're not in this one. So basically, Jax like makes him fall in love with her, I'm pretty sure. And basically fall in love. They're trying to figure stuff out. Then basically Apollo dies or something. He comes back to life. He comes back to life, y'all. He comes back to life, and then he starts trying to kill Evangeline. But then Caster, Chaos, is also, like, basically trying to kill Evangeline. And Evangeline's just trying to live. She's just trying to live a normal life, y'all. And Jax is just over here like, dude, I'm like totally blanking on this book right now. And life happens. And we find out that Evangeline and Jax are actual true love. They're lovers. So happiness. Oh, that's what. So basically we find out like Evangeline is like the person who's able to open these gates to like release like the fates, I believe, or like something behind gates that Jax is trying to get to. And so we find that out, and she's trying to open them, but then also trying not to get killed at the same time. There it is, y'all. Sorry, it took me a minute. And so she's trying to find all the pieces to add up to be able to open it. And my god, there's like lots of pauses, y'all. And then basically when she does open it, she dies. Because like Chaos is like, I think him or someone in his family gets released, and then they chomp on her because they're vampires too, and she dies. But then Jax is like, I don't want you to die, I'm in love with you and you're my true love, so like sparkle sparkle, you're brought back to life. But I think he lost immortality, so he's no longer Fae, I believe. I'm honestly not for sure. We're gonna look at the blurb, y'all. Okay. But then I think Apollo's also trying to kill Jax because no one likes Jax, because apparently Jax is like not a good person. Oh, that's right. Jax like betrays Evangeline a couple times. I think Evangeline like totally kills a person. Yeah, that does happen. And confusion right now, y'all. Yeah, we're very confused right now. That's all I'm gonna say. But basically, like, happy ending in the end. Yeah. Please, someone comment, because I'm honestly just confusing myself more, I think. Please help. Send help. And that's all I really have to say. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, because I need help. Please, 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 please do. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.